Hi, everybody. It's time for another special Lady Parts TV late night specials, cross-Atlantic dates.
As you can see, we're in bed, so that's what it always means.
We're
Well, it
in
doesn't
bed.
always mean it, but it does when
we're doing when there's
broadcasting.
video involved. Yeah. So today we have the great pleasure of interviewing somebody we've been wanting to chat to for so long now. We've been praising her on pretty much every Talking Teal episode. Kathy Chambers, director of photography on Wentworth.
Brava.
We cannot wait to talk to her and get some of the behind the scenes, how it works.
How she does the magic she does.
Yep, because so much of what you get is because of the way it looks.
Right.
So, we're going to chat to Kathy and we hope you join us.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How nice to be talking finally.
Yes, I know. All these, well, actually 1 year on Instagram.
And it's fun to see you. And
look at the display behind you.
Face with your...
Oh, that's my family behind me.
Oh, yeah?
That's beautiful.
Lovely. I love it.
It's very fitting that you would have all these photos behind you as somebody who, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, it's actually where I start. You know, that's sort of how I started, was with stills photography. I always thought I'd be a stills photographer. But then I got into film school here in Melbourne and changed everything.
Did you do photography for a long time? Did you do landscape? What did you do mostly?
I gave up art as a high school student because I couldn't draw or paint, and that's what everybody who was in the art class did. So then when I was in my when I was going to do what we have here is called VCE, it's the final year of your high school certificate. I'm not sure how, but I've been thinking about all this since, I've been thinking about talking to you ladies. I taught my mum into ringing the nuns and allowing me to take art up in my final year so that I could get a photographic folio. And the nuns were very concerned that this would endanger, that I wouldn't pass because I hadn't done art for 4 years or whatever it was. But anyway, they let me, and I went on to, I sort of shot a lot of strangely rock concerts and just sort of arty pieces, not very much landscape, more people orientated. Mm-hmm. And then I went for an interview at the photography school here, and then I went to an interview at the film school, and I got into the film school with that folio. So that's
the rest is history.
And then you became one of the very, very few female directors of photography. So that was a smart move.
In the world.
It's just terrible, isn't it?
It is because, we've noticed, because we're very attuned to what women are doing in the visual arts, especially television and film. And we've noticed all of a sudden a lot of female directors on episodic television, especially. Yeah. And we still don't see...
Very few directors of photography.
Very few directors
and very
of
few editors, too.
A few editors and writers, of course, but the directors have sort of exponentially increased, and we almost never see a female cinematographer.
That's really strange. There's a thing going on here in Victoria at the moment, or across Australia, I think, Agendas Matters.
Is that grant that they started? They started a grant, I think. Didn't they start a grant to encourage women in
That's right.
Yeah.
Like $6 million or something. Mm-hmm.
But it does seem to be levelled at producers and director teams. It doesn't sort of sit down under that sort of level with the DPs and the editors. And I mean, I think we just have to be glad something's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it seems that they just can't.
That will filter down.
That they can't comprehend that women can do things that are technical too, not just mind-oriented.
It's artistic. It's not just technical. Yeah. It's one of the most important arts of filmmaking.
Yes.
To me, anyway. I'm visual. I'm a photographer too, so I can watch a terrible movie and just be entranced.
Terrence Malick.
If it's got Terrence Malick. I will sit through every Terrence Malick boring film because it just
they look beautiful.
They look so beautiful, and it's really, really important.
But we kind of dropped into everything. Let's go back a second because we don't know anything about you.
You are a blank slate in our brains, and I don't think our viewers know very much
and I think
about you.
you're a catch to us because it's like, did you ever do one of these interviews before?
No.
Well, there we go, an exclusive, the first interview.
Yay, us.
So first of all, thank you. That's an honor.
Thank you for asking me.
Well, we have been pretty much raving, and every
We've been
single
blowing
episode.
your horn for a year or more.
Well, and one of our favorite compliments that we ever get, which we get actually quite a lot, is because we talk so much about the visuals of Wentworth, is that people all of a sudden say, well, we see it through a whole different lens now, so to speak, and now our standard for filmmaking is so high.
It's really true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. And this year with Talking Teal, the first emails that I got, already so many of them mentioned the cinematography, the editing. So it's so nice to see people really noticing these things because, I mean, it's obviously part of what we consume, but so many people just consume it on a subconscious level. So
yeah. That's amazing that's really, I'm glad because we work very hard.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sure
it's
you
noticed. And you have a pretty, at least the viewers that we deal with, they're pretty savvy. They are into every detail, sometimes almost to a detriment because I don't almost know how you can enjoy something when you're
well, it's because they
when you're
watch it about
looking
4
that
and 5
much.
times.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But they keep an eye on things. You're appreciated, the work you do. And the work you do is stunning. It's spectacularly good. So tell us a little about your background. So you went to film school.
Well, I went to film school and then I came out of there and worked with, I worked my way up the camera department. Clapper loading and
what is that? Clapper loading.
Clapper loading.
What is that?
So that's in the old days before digital. The camera department, well, in Australia anyway, started at the bottom with the clapper loader. Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
It's digital.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Oh, but they still clap.
It's there. It's just that with the digital age, the bottom of the camera department is now the video split operator. But back in those days, we didn't really have video splits. So I worked in Melbourne and just around Australia until I became pregnant with our first child, and I sold my van because I was focus pulling and it was hard work and heavy work, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. And I certainly wasn't going to leave a baby at home for it. So I had a baby, and then 18 months later we had our son. So I had two small babies quite close together. And I really just stayed. I did work, but I didn't work very aggressively. I really just wanted to look after them. At the same time, my husband opened a production company here in Melbourne with his brother, of course, because why would, what a great bit of timing. So we couldn't both be away from them. So I just stayed at home a lot, and I did lots of work for Renegade, his company, and then about 5 or 6 years ago, a female producer that I know suggested to a DP that she was working with that perhaps he would like to use me to do some of his second unit or second, when he went off on recce's and things like that. And that's Craig Barden, who was the original DP of Wentworth. So I did a bit of freelance for him, and then he sent me a text when I was on holidays in Thailand asking if I wanted to be his B camera operator for a show that ran for 4 months and went over January, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me. And here I am about to start shooting season 6 of that very show. So he has been a fantastic mentor to me, and he's been a big advocate of women in his film, in his camera department for many years.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, he's a terrific man. And so it got to a point where he was also shooting a show here. I'm not sure if you would know it, called the Dr. Blake Mysteries.
Oh, sure,
Doctor's starring Nicole,
this is the
right?
Dr. Blake Mysteries.
Oh.
Yeah. I know them.
With Craig McLachlan as Dr. Blake. And so Craig Barden had been shooting both shows, and all of a sudden they went up against each other. And so he went off to do Dr. Blake, and he worked pretty hard to make sure that I got the job on Wentworth. And so that's how I'm here. I just didn't really I hadn't really expected to be in this position
Wow.
because I spent so much time with the kids. My son has a learning issue that really took a lot of effort, which I'm very happy to have done. Very glad I did. So I just didn't really. I just thought I'd sort of continue doing people's second units, and now here I am shooting one of Australia's favourite shows.
Did you feel like you were thrown into the deep end?
Not really.
You were ready
I was
for it.
Ready. Yeah, I've spent a lot of years on sets. I've spent a lot of time watching films and television, and the producer said to me something about, I know you'll be nervous. I said, yeah, I'm not nervous. I'm ready. It was really it was fantastic, actually. It was just so great being at the helm.
And how was, I mean, I don't, we, or at least I, noticed a difference in the way the show looked from when you took over. And was that, did you sit down with the director or the writers or whoever, producers, and decide on a new look for the show? Or did that just happen organically because you took over?
It was a combination of things. I'm surprised that you noticed it because I was trying to be quite subtle about it.
It wasn't a drastic change.
Whoa, what's happening here?
But there are certain things that I think are your style that I have come to identify with Wentworth, and we have talked about them a lot. You know, the kind of the desaturation, that stark look, those very long shots that make people look very small. You know, things like that. I wanted to ask you also about mirrors. Whose idea was it to use mirrors so much in Wentworth as a shooting technique to shoot the mirrors, and they're always kind of distorted?
Well, that's a few questions. I'll go back to
I told you we've been wanting to talk to you for a long time.
The move from Craig to myself as the DP also coincided with a move in location.
Oh, right. So changed, right, prisons.
So we made the show originally in Oakley, over here in our world, in an old disused pill factory, which was a fantastic location. It had, it was one of those locations that just kept giving. Oh, you need an underground car park? We've just found over there. It was really unbelievable. So we were all a bit like, when they were selling that, we were like, what's going to happen next? But we've ended up in Newport in a TAFE, which is a little bit the same.
A what?
It just keeps giving. Oh, a TAFE. It's an old, we have them here. They're like, they're not a university, but they're a sort of more trades-based place of learning.
Okay, so like a school of some kind.
Like a school. When people leave school, they go to uni or they go to a TAFE and do, there's
more vocational.
Right? Yeah. So that opened up some opportunities visually to change things, because I just had this idea that I just wanted to bring more of the outside in, even though they can't go out. It was just a thing about trying to sort of, trying to put more daylight in there. And that's more daylight and more, this season you'll see in 5 coming up, we were a bit more, I'm not sure what the word is, but we put a lot of sort of bar shadows everywhere. And, so sort of saying there are windows, there's an outside world, but you can't go there, was sort of some of that idea. The other, the long shot thing is about making, I'm trying, without being too intellectually boring about it, but that idea that they are, little people in a big system. And I'm just trying to reinforce, every time I think of something along those lines, I try and bring it, somehow into the show. I worked last year with a new director to Wentworth, Matt King, and he was he's terrific, and he and I really pushed the idea of the claustrophobia, which I think we'll see in the next. Well, his episode, I think
he is 1 and 2.
1 and 2 he did.
Yeah, that sort of idea of the sort of taking the cells and making the shot just like that, not like that. And I think that worked really well. And the mirrors, well, the mirrors are part of Kate Saunders, of the original set dressings. But I remember when I was still doing the B camera one day at it in the old location, Pamela Rabe sort of turned into the mirror, and there was just this extraordinary reflection, and it was just pure happenstance. And I was just, it was just like, and everyone later said, "How did you do that?" I said, "She just stood in the right spot."
Perfect.
Looked very, one side and one side going. It was fantastic.
I kind of remember that actually.
That's just one of those things that happens.
It was a very arresting.
Well,
yeah, I sort of think of the visual triumvirate, the director, the lighting designer, and the director of photography. How do you all work collaboratively on that? Do you serve the director's vision? Do you come up with an idea and they fit it in? Does the lighting man come to you or woman and say, yeah?
It's such a collaborative process. I know everybody says that, but it really is. I think what happens, how I see my role as the DP is that the directors come and go, and they bring their own bits to their particular scripts. But really, I have to make sure that the overarching, it's like the overseer of the entire, that the show stays within its original visual style created by Amanda Crittenden and Craig Barden. Amanda was our original producer. It had a very strong stylistic style to start with. And so while I have tweaked that a little bit, I haven't really mucked with the overall look of the show. I've always said about that show that it's so much fun because you cannot put the camera in the wrong spot, because we're often way up here or way down there. And you have guest operators come in and say, if you just put it down there, and they go, down on the floor. Yeah, I know it's weird, but that's what we do at Wentworth. I had a new gaffer because Craig's gaffer went with him to Dr. Blake.
That's a lighting person, just for those who don't know what a gaffer is, right? A lighting man.
I call them lighting technicians, I think, don't you? Yeah.
No, we call them gaffers, but just for the people who don't know the lingo.
Yeah, yes. So I had Matty Beggs was my gaffer for the first couple of seasons, 5 and 6. And so we just work, just sort of it's just a collaborative idea. When you mentioned the mirrors, I thought maybe you meant the mirrors, because we've got mirrors. We now use mirrors outside the cell windows to try and give that sort of push of daylight.
They did seem yellower, the windows, in the last couple of episodes, I noticed.
They're warmer, do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe it's warm outside prison and cold inside.
Oh, it just points out the difference of the inside versus the outside. Yeah.
Yes, it's just all that kind of trying to underlay all that sort of. I don't think many people notice, but it's fun.
I think people notice. I think people notice more than you think.
Surprised when people notice.
Maybe.
Yeah. Even if it's just subconsciously, but I think
Absolutely.
even on a conscious level.
No, I mean, but still, when you think again, we always talk about Wentworth as such a sensory experience that is just kind of overwhelming, and I think that's why people like to watch it multiple times, because it helps them break it down. This is why I feel this way. This is, so it helps soothe them in certain ways. When we watch it, we're anxious all the time.
All the time.
And the visual of it, I mean, this is how we consume it. So the words, the dialogue, everything is there, but the way we see it is the way we ultimately, that's how it makes us feel the way we feel. So it's so important. Speaking of directors, by the way, we noticed, I don't know if it's something that, I mean, I'm sure that they do it on purpose, but that they do, the directors usually come for 2 episodes in a row every time?
In Australia, unlike in the US, our block of television is always 2 or 3, depending. in America, I know you get you do one ep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's very unheard of here. We do on Wentworth. We do the blocks are made up of 2 episodes. So each director comes in and gets their pre and then 2 eps and then their post on those 2 eps. On this show that I've just finished, the Mustangs FC, about the soccer girls, the blocks were broken into 3 directors had 3 eps each, and then the final director had the 4 episodes that made up the 13.
Interesting. That's kind of a contract union kind of a thing?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I thought it was... Sorry.
There's a great deal of envy for our American counterparts being able to just do one episode and concentrate on that episode, and then because I think maybe you girls know Jet.
Oh yes, we spoke to her.
Yeah,
she's fantastic.
Well, she tells us tales of working now in New York and LA, and there's a lot of jealousy going on, I think.
Well, she is very popular. She just keeps working from one show to the next.
Isn't that so great?
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love that.
But I would think directors would be thrilled to know that they had 3 episodes in a row to work on, without, especially journeymen who aren't doing a whole series themselves.
Well, I think the thing is, it's a lot in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you have it once, right? Yeah.
2 scripts, 2 48-minute scripts in your head is quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they would love to have the luxury of 1 episode at a time to deal with.
What I love about it, and I thought it was a creative decision. I love that it kind of has, so these 2, we see it as blocks of 2 that have kind of a continuity of style of, and even though the writers are different, and you can tell that, I can tell that, not necessarily others, but I love that it does allow for some continuity, and it does like little blocks. For example, we have the first 2 episodes of this year were very Frankie focused. Yes. I suspect that the next ones will not necessarily be so Frankie focused. So
I think you might be right.
When you say also that they shoot in blocks, do they shoot an episode and then shoot another episode, or do they shoot bits and pieces of both together?
That's what
Oh, that's hard work. I see how hard that is.
Yes, that's why it's trickier for them.
Oh, yeah. That way they don't have, if they have a setup and... Right, so they save money too that way. They have a setup somewhere, they'll use that setup if it's going to be used in the next show too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Whew. So, describe a day at Wentworth for you.
Well, I have a little office there, which is very nice. I've never had an office in my entire life, actually. Now that I mention it. So I go to the office I go to the set at about 6:45. We usually have a 7:30 crew call, which means in Australia we have this weird thing that means breakfast starts at 7:15 and goes till 7:45. That's so weird. They give us 15 minutes of their time and we give 15 minutes of ours, and we call it breakfast. So I go into the office and I usually watch my rushes from the night before, and just do any, see what's happening, say hello to the second AD who's right near me, see what's happening for the day, read my call. Well, I've usually read my call. I actually read my call sheet and my sides, which are the sort of cut down version of what we're going to shoot. I do that on the couch the night before, and then I just go in the morning and make a cup of tea and watch my rushes, or dailies, I think you call them.
Mm-hmm. Well, rushes too, yeah.
Yeah. And then, a lot of it, it's a funny show because because it shoots for quite a long time. I think, it's about 18 weeks or something shoot. And a lot of it is in that one building. But you never feel like because there's sort of probably 8 or 10 locations within that building, you're sort of never bored. You're always busy, and we have an incredible cast and crew. We have I don't want to sound sentimental, but it is like a family because everyone's been together for so long, and it is intense. It's intense watching it, but it is also intense making it. So there has to be a level of humour in there in their daily life to offset all those beatings.
So they don't stay in character all the time.
They do not stay in character. They do not.
They lose their minds.
Pamela Rave is one of the funniest women you'll ever meet.
That's what I've heard.
I've heard that in the premiere, that they had the Q&A in the premiere for the viewers, that she kept photobombing other people's pictures with other actors.
She's a very funny lady.
That's so great to know.
I mean, that is one of the other incredible joys of this show is, I'm working with some of the best women in the country.
Oh, yes, you are.
On a daily basis. It's just, last, I can't remember, I can't say things, that I can't remember who's in and who's not in yet, I won't say that. But there are really great, great actresses in this show. And I think because of the calibre of who they first cast, they had to cast the sort of second tier really well as well, because the disparity would have been, so it's sort of, they're all really good, whether they're sort of bit parts or Ferguson. So I feel very lucky to be able to, and the boys, gorgeous men.
Oh, they are.
Even we can tell.
Yeah.
Darlings. We organise a picnic every year.
Oh,
and all the fans.
That's lovely.
All the partners and all the kids come.
Oh, that's great.
He makes water balloons and makes up games with the kids, and it's a lovely, lovely people.
That's terrific. It must be so hard to lose socks and lose. Well, I mean, we may.
We don't know about socks yet.
Well,
so
we know
I guess
that
you can't tell us
that he's going for a certain amount of time. I mean, we don't know if he's coming back or not, but still, he's off the canvas for a while.
I don't know.
She's keeping her poker face.
No, we're not. We're not trying to.
No. I don't know anything anyway, because I haven't. I don't start for another 3 weeks, so I haven't even seen one little script and I don't want one. I'm going to Bali and I'm going to just leave prison and soccer at home. So I don't know anything yet. So it's exciting for me to go back and see what they've
Do you get your scripts far in advance, or do you get them really close to when you shoot?
We don't really get them very far in advance. When I get there, there'll be one, but Kevin Carlin, who's our original setup director, he'll be working with it, and we'll probably hopefully get one sort of a week or so before we start shooting. And there's a rough guide one.
Well,
there you go.
So when you mentioned sides and all, do you work with storyboards at all, or is that not something that you use?
No, we do. I'm not sure if I can talk about that, but there's been a couple of sequences in the show that sort of in the past, things like the fire, and in the future something else, which we won't talk about.
No, don't.
But those sort of scenes that are very specific or have a big post component, I find it very helpful to have the storyboards for that stuff, so that everybody's on the same page. Because there's usually more than three. There's often more than 3 cameras, and there's new people, and having those post components makes it really, some stuff has to be really very specific, and so I like to have those pieces storyboarded. But the daily stuff, we don't really storyboard very often.
Should I ask?
Well, I don't know. Depends on what you're going to ask.
No, I mean, just because you were talking, I was thinking about some of those. There are a lot of very fast-paced scenes, very high action, a lot of stunts, I imagine.
Choreographed.
Right. And we were wondering how much rehearsal went into it, and then how much of it is actual live action, and how much of it is post and the editing and all that.
Well, in regard to that, there's very little post component. It's all real, and they do have they rehearse. They tend to rehearse when I'm shooting, so I don't know, but I see it on the call sheets. They definitely rehearse all that sort of stuff. We have some really great editors as well on Wentworth. Ben Joss, who last year won an actor award for his editing on the show. The editing on Wentworth, it's sort of I can't imagine it Wentworth now without that style of editing. It's sort of so much part of its look and its feel and everything,
It's so
and
good.
and giving it that energy. So yes, I can't really think of any posts sort of in that. You know, the fights we do all of those for real, and yeah.
Well, yeah, the girls do most of their own stunts.
Stunts. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, we often bring in extras in the yard. Will be the stunty girls,
like
so
when they ambushed Ferguson.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye out for them.
I noticed that after Kate Jenko did her bit, everybody else was other people.
That's
We
right.
didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did everything else.
Though Pamela had to do her Hulk style
Whoa,
kung fu.
ninja! My
That was
God,
unbelievable,
amazing! It was like the Hulk. She was like the Hulk. It was unbelievable. Come on.
Sitting here with my family watching it, and the kids are like sitting on the couch going, "Oh my God!"
How old are they now? How old are your kids now?
Lily is 23 and Finn's just turned 22.
Oh, okay, they're old enough to watch Wentworth in that case. Yeah.
Because you know that thing about the lack of women we were talking about earlier. There's no way I could have done this job when they were younger. There's no way I would have. Well, I personally would have done it because, you know, I get up at 6 o'clock and I come home at 7:30.
Yeah,
and that's on a good day.
No way to mother.
No, that's not a.
No.
That's when I don't go to a grading session or something after work.
Wow.
So you couldn't do that with. Well, I personally could never have done it when they were little, which is just sort of that fantastic sort of coming together of, you know, being given the opportunity to do something that I've always loved. When the home life allowed it.
Timing.
You know, now they do my washing and they cook meals for me.
Isn't that
Sounds
lovely?
good.
That's a perfect arrangement. I'm really curious. Can you tell us what was the hardest scene you've had to shoot and why?
What season are we up to?
We're on 5.
We're 5, yes.
Well, you're on 5. I shot 4, didn't I? And 5, and now I'm going to do 6.
Now we're only on episode 3 of 5.
We finished 2. So
2, but we know, we know all of 4. Everybody remembers everything.
Oh,
yeah, 4. I think there was a really harsh. There was a horrible sort of rape scene of Pamela.
Oh yes,
very memorable.
Very memorable. Very terrible. Very.
That was my hardest, I think.
And was it hard because of content, or was it hard because of the logistics?
No, just content.
Yeah.
Logistics. We go into handheld. You know, we sort of we know what we're doing when we have, but that was pretty harsh. That
was
content.
brutal. It was hard to watch.
It was one of the most awful, awful scenes that they had on a very tough show. So
yeah.
On the other side of the coin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you can tell us off the top of your head, but just if you can tell us a fun anecdote from set life.
Something lighter than
rain. Sorry.
I've been trying to think of one, and I just cannot.
So you knew we were going to ask.
Well, she's sort of
a little birdie may have told her.
Who?
She is a serial photo bomber.
Pam. We weren't asking just about Pam. We're asking about just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, Pam.
But I mean that does provide quite a bit of hilarity on the set when she's bombing things.
She's doing it during work. You mean during an actual?
Yes,
that could throw a monkey wrench into things.
There's nothing that sort of stands out sort of as one thing, because as I said earlier, we do have, it is quite a lot for how heavy it is. It's quite a light set, and I think that just happens because of that. Mm-hmm. I think everyone just kind of keeps it up, and I can't really think of one funny anecdote. I said that I was talking to my husband this morning about. He said, "What about when the fans got into the front?" Right up to the stairs. I said, I don't know if I should talk about that.
Was that funny or scary?
You had to break in instead of a break out, huh?
There was a new gate within the week on the front.
Wow. Well, they find out things really quickly, and they're devoted. They will come. They will show up.
Yeah,
Has it been cleared off fans since then?
Yes, there's a great big gate that we use. We've got an app that opens our gate.
Wow. Well, maximum security now.
That's exactly right. We are behind bars, literally.
So I don't know if I've ever seen a blooper reel for Wentworth, though it might exist on a DVD. But is that how it works? You the cut and people just start laughing?
Yes, I didn't. I think you have to buy the box set, which I haven't done either because they give me my episodes. But I'm not sure if there is a blooper reel for Wentworth. That's a very interesting question that I might ask the producer.
Yeah.
Please get back to us if you might.
Well, it's good to know. I'm going to think sometime when I watch a really, really hard, horrible, depressing scene. As soon as the scene is over, they're all going to be laughing.
Yeah, there wasn't that much laughing after the Pam rapes.
I'll bet.
It was a bit of a dour set that day.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. The worst nightmare. Yeah.
Disturbing.
And has there been any kind of a difference since Danielle left? Was that? I mean, I know that it was kept secret for a long time, and then I don't know if they shot the scenes, if people knew, if the rest of the cast knew when they shot the scenes, but
it was very much kept under wraps. It was sad losing Danielle. She was she's a great actress.
She is.
She worked really hard and she worked her guts out on that show and she really owned that character, I thought. I used to love watching her work. So it was, it was sad. It was terrible when we actually had to say goodbye. But
it was a big sacrifice.
What was that?
It was a big sacrifice.
Yeah, it was. It was an interesting choice.
But it was a glorious send-off.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was. I mean, it's gutsy. Television sort of has to be gutsy these days, doesn't it?
Literally,
yes, it
in
does.
her case.
It does. Because
television has the pavement kind of gutsy.
It has a very high bar. Television. It's better than
is.
most movies these days. You really find the good stuff, and all the actors want to work on television, and there's good directors, and it's very exciting. It's a great place to be, but it does set a high bar.
I just finished. I don't know if you ladies have seen Big Little Lies.
Oh yes.
Oh, did you work on that?
No, she saw it.
No, I just watched it.
Wasn't
I wish I would have done it.
Wasn't it amazing?
Oh, that was such great television.
Oh my God! I sat on the edge of my bed, on the edge of my seat. We did wait a couple of weeks because we knew we were going to want to do a little binge.
Yeah,
but
we got spoiled. We tried to binge on things.
I almost wish that we had waited because I think we would have watched. Was it 8 hours?
No, 7. Yeah.
7. I think we would have watched them all
in one sitting
because they were so powerful.
My daughter and I watched the last 2 together, and when he hands her the phone after she's got the text message, I'm like.
And then she got in the car with him. What could she have been thinking? Oh, I know I'm not supposed to yell. I get excited.
Oh, I was so excited. That was really very, very clever television.
It was
and there might be a sequel. They left it kind of open-ended a little bit there.
They certainly did.
Yeah.
Yes, didn't they just? Well, doesn't the book set in Australia?
It's written by an Australian woman.
Yeah, right.
Sydney.
So you may be doing one. Who knows?
You never know.
Well, do you have any aspirations to come to America and grace us with your talents?
Well, I would love to.
You wouldn't hang up the phone.
I'm not sure if I'd get the opportunity, but
you have a pretty damn good reel, Kathy.
I do now have a very good reel, which is very interesting.
Jet might need a cinematographer. She could recommend.
Well, that's right. She might need me
desperately.
Exactly.
Yes.
We would love to have you come over. I was wondering
about New York and have a visit anyway.
Oh, that would be fantastic. We'd love that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
Sure,
Once.
She's been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering also if you had certain techniques or themes that you use for certain characters or relationships on the show.
What season are we? Oh yeah, okay. There's sort of I tried to do some sort of special stuff for the Kate Jenko and Danielle stuff. I just tried to be a little bit kinder to them in those moments when they were together.
Softer and golden.
There was a softness, yeah.
Yeah, I love doing that. There's a show that there's Mustangs FC show that I've just done here in Australia. When we meet the girls, there's this little girl, and she is very, inside her own world, and she's a bookworm, and she doesn't really have very many friends and blah. And so the first thing I say is something like that is, okay, well, we don't light her room's not going to have sun coming in the windows. It's not going to be lit like the other kids' rooms. It's going to be lit in a much more interior, internal way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trickier to do that at Wentworth because of the constrictions of the cells and sort of just the constriction of where we are and how it's the look of it. But I do manage, I think, to my own amusement, to sneak things in like that love lighting for the girls when they were falling in love and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually this last season too, but this season I think there's going to be more. So I heard you got a lot of location shoots to do on season 5.
We did.
So you got to play a little with more open spaces and different kind of spaces.
We go to other places, which is really fun.
That's fun.
So like, for example, sorry?
No, I was just going to say, I believe it's the first few episodes of 6 are the same.
Good.
And so, for example, when you shoot something like Bridget's house with Bridget and Frankie in it, is that how do you approach that?
But that's another interior, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was also. I think the most important thing about those locations is the contrast between that and prison life. So, they're just warmer in tone, in their dressing, in their lighting, sort of across the board. They should feel like we're not in prison anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the sort of basis we go, and then we go to some other places which we can't talk about yet.
Mm-hmm.
But as a cinematographer, I'm not a big fan of. In fact, I'm actually very anti look at me cinematography. I don't like it. I feel that our job is to, with the script and the director, is just to back that script up, not be show-offy. Anyone can be, show-offy. If people are sort of really thinking about the cinematography, then I think we've failed. I think we should just be reinforcing the words on the page is really an important thing to me.
So David Lean isn't your favorite cinematographer?
No. Well, I don't really have a favourite cinematographer.
Oh, that was my next question.
Oh, was it?
Too bad.
I grew up loving old movies. When I went to film school and everybody was talking about the French Cinematheque, I was still talking about Hollywood in the 40s.
Hollywood in the 40s was pretty
magic.
fabulous, especially the noir.
Yeah.
Film noir was
I
phenomenal.
love things like, I love Frank Capra films. What was his name? What was that DP's name? Howard.
No, I don't know.
Somebody.
Who his DP
I loved Freddie Young, Lawrence of Arabia, things like that.
Oh, well, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, like epics.
Yeah. I remember seeing, as a young film student, Paris, Texas, and those films that Robbie Mueller shot?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw Paris, Texas. I must have.
Yeah, Robbie Mueller. He was a really interesting DP from the 80s. John Seal, Dead Poets Society. I mean, that sort of just kind of classically beautiful, just sort of underpinning the story is my kind of.
Do you have moments on when you're shooting and or when you're coming up with concepts for shooting and you think, oh, I'm going to do what that cinematographer did as a sort of homage on that show. I'm going to do it here for this scene. Do you ever get those moments?
Not really. I do get a bit of that coming from the director. Like Matt King really loved something that one of the directors did in Orange is the New Black. And so he said, I'm going to write that guy an email. It's really nice. And so something along those lines.
Mhm.
And then we have, last year we had Jeff Bennett did a block of the telly, speaking of noir, and he felt that his episodes were quite noirish. So we did play with a lot of shadows and darkness. And
Did he
when
do
I
the
saw
first?
part of that, a lot of it hadn't made it in, but we did have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah,
There
that
was
show
that,
really lends itself to
There
it.
was that scene with Bridget and the freak in the interrogation. I mean, not really interrogation, but
Where
when
they
she
were
asked
talking,
her
the three questions.
the 3 questions, that was so noir. That was all tight close-ups and shadows and
Oh,
things.
yes.
That was
yes.
brilliant. One of my favorite
That was
scenes.
Yes.
You do a lot of those intense close-ups and putting people on the side of the shot. So we're like,
Yeah.
is that to
That's
make
right.
us feel on the edge of our seat?
That's right. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. If the character is under pressure, so should the frame be.
We're under pressure.
Or high, sort of down on them, and it's all sort of, that is all underpinned by the cinematography on Wentworth. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get is it American Crime or American Crime?
Yeah, American Crime.
Do you get that series? The one that
John Ridley.
John Ridley does.
It's a repertory company.
That third season, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah. Felicity Hoffman and.
I've only just read about it. I've not heard of it.
You should try to see it, and especially this last season, I find to be. I think you would find the cinematography very interesting. They do a lot of close-ups. I'm in constant agony and worry over what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next because of the way it's shot.
Well, also because of the content,
well,
but it lends itself.
The content, of course. This last one is about human trafficking and slavery and forced labor of all kinds.
It's very compelling.
No. It's very very fascinating.
And in day-to-day life, not anything, not cartels.
I might go and get it in the morning and take it to Bali.
Oh, great.
That's a great idea. Also, second season is better than the first season.
Yes.
The first season was not our favorite season, but I think that it wouldn't matter.
They're unrelated.
Season 2 is really a good season.
Okay, great.
And this season is shaping up to be, I think, the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think you'd find it interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, by the way, also for talking to us just before you take off.
Oh, yeah, to Bali. My God.
It's needed. I can assure you.
I'll bet.
It's going to be intense.
Someplace light and airy.
Yeah, that's right.
So you talked a little bit about working on the girls' soccer show.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes me wonder about two different things, which is, first is, how does working on other shows compare to working on Wentworth? Do you find that Wentworth is a very singular experience, and what's unique about it?
It is a very singular experience. I've just, when I heard about the Mustangs show, I thought that I was born for that job. That job should be mine. So I had a couple of meetings with the producers, and finally, after some cajoling, because I'm terrible at selling, because I've never had an interview and I don't have an agent, and I'm terrible at it. Anyway, one of the directors from Wentworth, who was very keen, Fiona Banks. I don't know, you might not have seen Fee's eps yet, but they're coming up.
Great.
And she's coming back to do 4 eps in season.
Oh, wonderful. Yay.
She is a terrific director here in Melbourne, and she really championed for me to get the Mustangs job. And she said to me one day, "You're just terrible at selling yourself." This is after I'd been for the interview. I was like, I was terrible. I was so out of my body. I was terrible. Anyway, I wrote them a letter and said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I'm terrible at it, but this is what I will do for your show if you give me this job." Anyway, they gave me the job, which was great. So it's based around a bunch of girls who have been in a football club for years, but they get to a certain age and they're not allowed to play with the boys anymore, so they have to find their own team. And so it's obviously very different from Wentworth, and then not so different. There's a bunch of girls and
politics and the system.
Yes,
exactly.
Having to go against the system.
Friendship and all those sort of leadership and fitting in and not fitting in. They're kind of fairly common themes between the two shows in a way.
In a way.
In
One
a
is
way.
girls playing soccer and one is women in prison for the rest of their lives trying to kill each other. But otherwise,
That's right.
they're exactly alike.
Just little bits, just tiny bits of the same.
I get it.
But so I took a lot of my team with me to Mustangs, and then I'm taking them all back to prison in a couple of weeks. And I think everyone will be glad to get back to prison. Prison, there's something about that show that is just, I don't know, I can't really tell you what it is, but it's hard to put your finger on. But we just all love it.
Well, what a
And we all love
challenge.
each other, and it's a very unique experience.
What a creative challenge it is. Great scripts, great actors, great atmosphere, great opportunities to do fabulous, interesting things. I can see why. What I'm interested in is why you thought the little girls playing soccer was something you were born to do.
It was a show that was going to be made in Melbourne. The whole idea of the gender matters thing. Why would you put a bloke in charge of that show? That would be silly.
Yeah.
And there aren't very many of us women in Melbourne that are doing this kind of telly. We have some really great female DPs here, but a lot of them are younger than I am and have little, they have kids that you wouldn't be able to do this you wouldn't want to do this kind of work while they were that little. So I just thought, well, that job, I should get that job.
And you did.
And I did. I loved it. We had beautiful young, they were between 14 and 17. A couple of them were doing their VCE, and
what's that?
That's the last
that's
year.
the final year.
Yeah.
Sorry, the final year of high school. And they were just so committed. They were all bawling on Wednesday afternoon when we finished.
Oh, you're
going to have a second season?
I hope so. I think it's a really nice it's a nice kids show. It's going to be on the ABC 3 here in Australia. I'm not sure what plans it has for America, but it is made by Matchbox, which I think is owned by an American company.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And so you actually answered it a little bit. So you do seek out projects that are specifically female-centric and empower
women.
I
certainly did that one.
Good.
Because I thought that should be me in front of that, with the camera and with those girls.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did, because it was empowering, because we had a female producers, female production designer, female DP. We went on recce's.
What are recce's?
What would you call? When you go and
looking for locations.
Yeah,
location scouting.
Mm-hmm.
A scout. Yeah. We'd go on those, and there would be only women.
Wow, fun!
That has never happened to me before.
Wow.
Does it change? Does it change the creative process?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know, actually. I imagine maybe it frees it up a bit.
I was going to say, it sounds like it should be liberating.
Well, especially since it's a show about girls.
It felt liberating. I'm just worried. I'm not sure if it informed the creative process, but perhaps it did.
Well, maybe in terms, the way I think about it, maybe in terms of the collaboration, of the way, of the delegation, of the, being more collegial.
Yeah, the freedom to express certain ideas, the freedom to express yourself without, a certain kind of a male hierarchy.
Yes, well, there was sort of none of that hierarchy.
That's wonderful.
And none of that kind of language that can take everybody down as a peg or two. There was none of that.
We so need matriarchy.
So great. It was really, really lovely.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
Great.
Now, are you also interested, by the way, in feature films, or do you like the fast pace of television?
No, I would like to shoot a feature film. And I said it out loud the other day, and Kenny, my darling, said, good, that's good. You've got to say it out loud, otherwise it won't happen.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Visualize it.
Yeah, that's right. So start seeing it, Phil.
Feature film in America. Now you got 2 in 1.
A feature film in America. The thing about coming to America is, the budget. We have terrible... Jet keeps telling us all the things that she's allowed to play, all the toys she's allowed to play with. Which here, if you ask for a crane for a day, they treat you a little bit like, that's you want a lot, don't you? Apparently,
Keeps you humble.
Now that's television, though. If you shoot, there's a lot of low budgets in films here.
Yes, I'm
a
sure.
A lot of low budget films made for a nickel and some pocket lint.
A lot of our films, almost 100% of our films in Australia are low budget.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are also a lot of grants, right? Which is something that we don't have here. Is a lot of grants,
but it's still a low budget.
No, but still, it's nice that it's sponsored.
Yeah. So I think you probably, even though you don't have to shoot 8 minutes a day on a feature film in Australia, you probably still have to shoot 4 or 5, maybe 6 sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, but
which is fast.
If you can't get a crane, though, it makes you get creative, and then you have to put cameras on the floor and on the ceiling and all sorts of places. Yeah. So actually, that might be interesting for the
crane. If you need a crane or something to track, you need it. I mean, sometimes you just have to have what you have to have.
Yeah, I know.
That's right. We did. We were very creative with my grip. Simon Hawkins was very creative on Mustangs because there was a question of how to cover the socker. That was on everybody's lips at the. What are we going to do with the socker? And so we've ended up with he built this hilarious thing that looks like a rickshaw. Do you know what a rickshaw, like an Asian sort of?
Oh yeah, yes, of course. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he invested in a Movi, which is a stabilised little head, and we put a little mini Alexa on it, and he basically just ran around the field.
Fabulous.
He could do it up here or down at their feet with the ball, and I mean, it is. Speaking of being inventive, it is really incredible. The production value we got on screen for that little spend was, I think, very impressive.
Oh, I'll be eager to see it.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye open for it.
I have a question that I just thought about. If you could do then your feature film in America with all the budget on the planet, what would your dream movie to shoot would be? What kind of movie would that be? What kind of genre or what kind of location or?
I don't know that I've taken this fantasy quite that far yet. But
see, now I got the ball rolling.
I think it would be something. Drama is my love. I just love drama. So I think it would be character-based, something character-based.
Yeah. Well, we're
right with you 100%.
City.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Perhaps it should be shot in New York City.
Oh, what a good idea.
It's so
great
photogenic.
Location. Such a photogenic city.
Such a pretty
Infinite possibilities.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, we can't wait. When are you coming? Now, if you were a Wentworth character, who would you be?
Yes. Who would I be? I think that perhaps I would be Celia's character. The motherly, very maternal.
You'd be making tea for everybody and lag on Sonia.
Lag on Sonia, exactly. Good luck.
I'm trying to go to Bali without cooking any food because they're old enough.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, I'll just make some chicken soup.
You sure you're not Jewish?
Go to Bali, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to know how to cook.
They'll be fine. They're big. They're big. They're a big boy and girl. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. I know. It's pathetic, isn't it? So
you're a mom.
That's I'll be. That's who I would be, serious character.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
I can see that, yep, Liz. And who would be your best friend?
That's a good question. I don't know. I like Tammy's character.
Really? What an interesting
choice.
Kaz is your best friend.
She's a very complex girl.
She's very complex, isn't she?
Extremely.
She is. She's kind of scary at times. She's volatile.
You don't know exactly where she's coming from 1 minute to the next, but she's quite fascinating. And she has good intentions.
I think she has a good heart.
She does have a good heart.
I love that she's all about protecting the women, loving them. I mean, she may go about it a little, not necessarily the right way.
Crazy way.
What is that?
Crazy way.
Oh yeah, goes about it in a crazy way.
Yes. Well, she's easy to trigger. She's her emotional. She's not very stable. She's very easy. Yeah, she's always just under the surface, ready to explode. But I do love that she's that she always wants.
She's a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a cool choice. I would
It
never have
is.
thought of Kaz as best friend.
My favorite character is Sonia.
Though I think she murdered her best friend.
Oh,
so I
she
don't-
may have, but I don't want to be her best friend. I just like to watch her work.
She's great, isn't she?
Oh, she's fantastic.
I couldn't remember if I was allowed to mention her name earlier when I was talking
Oh,
about
yes,
her.
yes.
she's been there
been
for
here since last season. Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. I was just so excited when they told me that Sigrid had been cast.
She's kind of
Because
acting royalty, isn't she, in Australia?
She is Australian royalty, definitely. And she's just fantastic to watch.
She's hilarious. She's
And
brilliant.
She's lovely.
I'm glad to hear
She's
that because I just love to watch her wheels turn.
Well,
You can't really see it, but you can feel it happening,
Well, and even though she's obviously quite sinister and is capable of quite, bad things, you can't help but love her.
I know.
She's fascinating.
I can't wait to see what they're going to do with her in 6. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, we're still stuck in early 5, so we can't wait to see what they do with her in 5. But this is actually a good transition because I wanted to ask you
And
about.
then you're almost free.
Yes, we're not going to take too much more of your time, but we are curious because you have been so generous with talking about some of the actors, and we'd love to hear what you think about these next few actors in whatever way you'd like to share.
1 word, 2 words,
a whole sentence, 3 sentences.
and she's already told us about.
Danielle Cormack.
Oh well, Danielle Cormack is just a woman very, very dedicated to her work. And I think it really shows.
Oh, she seems so
fine.
committed. I would imagine it takes such a toll.
Every second.
I think it does. I can only imagine that it does because she is giving 125% every day. And we do miss her badly.
I'll bet.
And everybody else
So
does
do we.
too, which goes to show that it really permeated her dedication.
Yeah, she really had a connection with that character, and I'm not surprised that people miss her.
No.
Nicole De Silva.
Oh, Knickers.
Oh, you just started something.
That's great. What a great nickname.
Oh dear.
No.
She is such a darling girl, and she is also, they just put in so much. I mean, everybody does on that show. I think that, I don't know how, it just seems like a weird thing that could actually come across in people's lounge rooms, but I think it actually does. It's just that everyone's so committed, and Nicole, she just works her guts out on that show. She really is so committed.
Her intensity reads right through the screen.
She's a really great actress, Nicole. I mean, they all are. How lucky am I?
You're lucky.
They're lucky too. Kate Jenko.
Oh, Jenko's gorgeous as well. I don't know Kate as well because she, Danny and Nicole were with us we were all together from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate's only been there for a couple of seasons, but she's a darling. She seems to be a darling as well, and she works so hard.
Well, you already told us about Pamela, so we don't have to ask
Kate
about
Atkinson.
Oh, Kate Atkinson. Kate Atkinson is a good friend of mine now, and I don't know if you ladies ever saw something called Sea Change.
No. What is it?
Well, I don't know if you could get it, but you should. It's a little telly show that was shot here in sort of down the coast. I think Sigrid was in it.
Then I definitely want to check it out.
Kate Atkinson was in it, and she was absolutely terrific. And I did do a little bit of second unit Sea Change, but I'd never worked with Kate. And she is, man, she's so good too. There's some stuff I can't say, but
she seems fun also.
She seemed tiny
she's
also.
Really fun.
She seems so tiny.
About this big.
So tiny.
Especially next to Ferguson, next to Pamela.
And those two women have the most incredible rapport.
That's
Really?
great.
Really close. They're thick as thieves, the two of them.
Fantastic.
Okay, well, we're looking for Sea Change. Go ahead.
Katrina Milosevic.
Oh, Kat, she's a darling. Gosh, I mean, Kat, I think says enough about Kat. Kat did not start as main cast. She was supporting cast for the first season, and she just acted her way into the main cast, and I think that shows because she is so good.
Oh, she's so funny, and she's so moving, and she's so crazy, and she's so fabulous.
And I love hearing that because her character did start off as a little bit one-dimensional, and she's so grown and all these different layers about her. And I love hearing she said she bases the character on her boyfriend.
Handsome Rod, I call him.
What's his name? What do you call him?
Handsome Rod.
Handsome Rod. Nice.
Tammy McIntosh?
Tammy is as mad as a cut snake. She's a darling. We have or the last couple of seasons, I have the girls for lunch. My family, I don't really do very much because I'm at work, but my family do a lot of work that, they don't do all the cooking and shopping for us, and we have all the girls, and we did it again last season, and Tammy was so excited. She said, I'm going to the market. I'll do the starters. So she went to the market in the morning. She arrived laden with, oysters and prawns.
I wish I'd been there.
She's a darling. I feel for her. She's a Sydney sider. So when she comes to Melbourne, she has to leave her husband and her
his son, is she?
And her son. Sorry, that's just safari quick. We'll just ignore that. Her son in Sydney, and she goes many weeks without seeing them.
Hard.
And playing Kaz, which is not easy.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's tough.
How about Socks?
Oh, Socks is gorgeous. Well, where is Socks?
Socks is on his way to
Barnhurst, and
Barnhurst.
he was in the interrogation room after the second episode, and it did sound like he said that he would be Maxine will be seen in Barnhurst less, now that she's not taking hormones, she'll be kind of genderless, and going through a rough time, and so we know that we'll keep seeing her in Barnhurst. So that's all we know.
That's all we know.
That's all. I don't know any more than that. I didn't even know that.
But he must be a great guy.
Socrates was a lovely man. He in amongst all those women, it can be mad and chatty and he held his own.
He's well in touch with his feminine side, huh?
I think
he's well in touch with his feminine
I think he's really. I love from listening to him. It seems that he really has taken on the responsibility. He understands that he has a big responsibility in the character that he plays, and he really feels committed to it, and that's beautiful.
He took that very seriously, and I commend him for that because you've got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very. I think he did a lot of research, and he I'd often hear him arguing with people, not arguing, but fighting for line changes or things like that. He was very onto that character.
Yeah, that's committed. Wonderful. He seemed very committed.
Very committed.
And
they're all committed.
And really, I thought of Maxine as a woman. I did. I bought into the whole thing. It was amazing.
They told us a little bit about Robbie, so that's okay. Now, Sally Ann Upton, I can't get over the fact that I see her on the screen and she's so vile, and then in real life she's so charming and just adorable.
And is she?
She's so adorable. She's the most adorable thing, and then she's so revolting.
That's a perfect word. She is revolting.
Oh. God. She is a darling, though.
That's acting for you.
Okay, we're almost done.
Libby Tanner?
Libby Tanner's gorgeous. We don't see enough of Libby because she's sort of, I don't know what, she's not really, I think it's support, but,
she's not main cast. Yeah.
She doesn't come in and out. She's not there a lot. But we do love to see her, although her office is my least favourite.
Because of the chartreuse?
Location on the set.
It's small, too.
Yeah, and it's got this weird window that's got this band of wood that sits right where their heads are.
Oh,
I have to. We're gonna have to take a look at that.
But I loved in episode 2, if you remember, when Frankie, after she came back to prison, she sneaks into. I mean, Bridget calls her for a meeting in her office, and all your shots were with the light behind them, the window behind them, so it lights them up when they kiss and all that stuff from behind. So that's gorgeous shot.
I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, I loved it.
We like your work, Kathy. We like your work.
We pay attention.
You do.
Well, I mean, for us as people who watch television, we watch so much television and film, and we love it as an art form.
Since I was a child, I have been. My parents were cinephiles, and we had one of the first TVs in Laredo, Texas, where I'm from, a huge antenna trying to get things from 150 miles away.
From Mexico?
From San Antonio. I have always loved it, and
me too.
You pay attention, and I'm a photographer, so I really pay attention to the visuals. I mean, I'm a writer, so I love it all. I was an actress, so it's all very, very, integral to my life. But I think the visual really is almost the most important thing.
And I'm telling you, I have people who tell me. I mean, I had a friend of mine, Leo, who texted me today and said, "Why did La La Land win the cinematography?" And I said, "Just wait." And she was only 20 minutes into it. I said, "Just wait. It's a beautifully shot film." But she said, "I don't know. Wentworth set such a high standard for me. I can't take it anymore." So there you have it.
I like your friend already.
Yes,
she'll be really, really happy to hear that. All right, 2 last people. Jackie Brennan, our favorite Smiles.
Oh, Smiles. She's she's such a great thing, Jackie Brennan. I think she's been with us from the start as well, hasn't she, Jack?
Yes, and we keep saying we need more
Jackie. We need more Smiles.
She is, she's a darling, darling girl. She's very, she's sort of light and bright in her personality, and she's got a lovely husband and a couple of kids here in Melbourne, and she's just a darling.
And last, Sharina Clanton.
Oh, Sharina. Sharina is just this...
Oh, we forgot somebody. I'll ask you again. Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
She's just she's just brings such sort of warmth to her character, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
She loves that character, and you can just sort of feel it coming from her. It sort of emulates from her. She's another fine actress.
Yeah. We're worried that we're going to lose her to Perth, but I know you can't say anything.
You can't say anything.
But last but not least, because I skipped her on the list, Celia Ireland.
Oh, Seals. Well, Seals is like the mother of the show.
So she is who she plays.
Yeah, she really is. She also has to come from Sydney for weeks and weeks and weeks without her daughters.
How old are her daughters?
They're the sort of the same as Ben. They're sort of in the early teens, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's young.
Maybe 13 and 15 or something.
That's young.
That's a hard time to be away.
Yeah,
it's hard. But she looks after all of us.
There's going to be a big episode with her next week. We're very, very worried.
Very nervous about next week because she has to testify next week.
Mm-hmm.
The next week's episode.
You could be very nervous.
Yes, we are very nervous.
We've been nervous for a year
and
now.
we know that Sonia is...
Oh, she already knows.
She's cottoned on to everything that's going on because nothing gets past Sonia. I love
This
her.
is a pretty good series of television that you've got coming up, I must say.
We can't wait.
Without saying anything, I did watch the last couple just a month or so ago, and I had to text the director to tell him what incredible television it was.
Well, this was so great. You are wonderful, and you should do more interviews. You're very good at it.
I've been very nervous. I don't know that I am.
You don't have to be nervous for us.
You put me right at ease.
Oh, good. We're just folks, after all. We're fans.
We're fans of your work.
We really, really are. And
very kind. It's very nice for you to say that, and all the nice things you said, because it's funny. You live in your own world, thinking, "Is this really any good?" It's nice when people say, "Yes, it is."
Oh, yes, it is.
It's really good.
It's better than good. It's it's quite stunning and spectacular. And
Well, I hope we continue to stun you.
yes,
I'm
you
sure
will.
we
I'm
will.
sure, and we're going to look for Mustangs
And we're going to look for
keep
the
us
feature
posted
film.
about any
Yes,
other
I
things
will.
that might come up because
Yes.
we're quite interested.
Yeah.
And when you come to shoot your feature film in New York,
Or if you
let
just
us
come
know.
for a visit.
I thought we could go and have some wine if we came to visit New York soon.
Sounds
love that.
fantastic. It'll be great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kathy,
you for giving
so
us
much.
the honor of being your first interview.
Thank you very much, ladies, for asking.
Have a beautiful
wonderful
time in Bali.
Oh, we'll be
We will.
thinking of you.
I'll look at
Basking
your
on the
your
beach.
Instagram for some great
Yes,
Bali shots.
I will do some Instagramming,
Great.
maybe
Great.
after a week or so.
All right. Well,
Right.
cheers.
Thank
you
so
very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.